Good afternoon, Canes fans. Another edition of the West End Zone podcast. Again, it's a working title. We're just kind of working out the kinks here, learning how to do a podcast. Um, yeah, this week we're going to be touching upon a little bit of last week UVA. It's only Tuesday, so I think we can do that. And then we're going to go look forward to NC State. Again, we're going to be joined by our weekly regular, the Machine, aka Alex, aka my dad. If you guys have never seen anything on our channel, you know, um, I've been going to the games with my dad basically every single game for every single year. And, we have these conversations together, just him and I, on a daily basis. So figured I would, share it and see if you guys enjoy it as much as we do. So help me welcome Al the Machine.
Hi there. Just thankful for the West End Zone inviting me again out here to the podcast. Really excited about being here and sharing some of the notes of what transpired, a little bit about last week and what's going to happen, and then, in the coming game on Saturday in North Carolina. So thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I know, and just didn't really prepare too much for today. Just kind of wanted to, see where this went. Talking about the UVA game, it's a little bit of it's kind of a game that gives you a little bit of mixed emotions, right? Where you're glad to see us sort of gut out a win, and maybe we didn't play so great on defense, not as good as we've been playing. Obviously, we played poorly on offense, and despite all that, we won a game that maybe in other years we don't win.
No, listen, it's 2 weeks in a row, where you basically go to the end of the game and excitement. If you're looking for value for your cost of going to the game, you're getting it, because every game, the past two games have been really exciting, and obviously, winning at home is always a good feeling. And you're leaving the stadium and walking out. So I'm sure all the fans were happy for a great game, but at the end of the day, we shouldn't have been in that position.
Yeah, you you kind of hear Coach Guidry's comments after the game, or I think they were actually yesterday, where he's like, "Man, I can't take another one of these overtime games." And I think it was actually 2017. That was a season like this, where like every game was down to the wire. And I remember that season. There was like that one rain game with Georgia Tech that we somehow won. Then the Florida State game where we broke the streak, and it was just like every week it was something like this. Obviously I'd like to keep winning, but I think I'd like to see us, win convincingly.
Well, look, in my opinion, the defense showed up. They played a great game. Virginia was very physical up front. They did make some plays. Were able to move the ball down the field and score. But at the end of the day, the defense, and of course having one of the best kicker or the best kicker in college football, the first kicker to kick 40-plus yard field goals, 3 of them in one game this year. That tells you how special he is. And just being able to see that. What was very disappointing was the offensive plan going into the game, where they were trying to. Virginia was putting 7 in the box and basically shutting down the run. And when you had to throw passes on first down, they were running it again on second and putting themselves in bad position. I think today what we're going to be talking about a little bit is about what needs to happen on Saturday against NC State. NC State, in my opinion, is a much better team than Virginia, stat-wise at least. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in that game. Also, what's going to happen with Van Dyke. Van Dyke, in my opinion, should not have been played last week. I think we should have gone back to the freshman. I think William was the guy. He showed that he could lead the team against Clemson. He wasn't hurt. He had gotten confidence. I believe that Mario's and maybe the offensive coordinators moved to try to rush Van Dyke back with bruised ribs, bad finger, bad knee. I think it was a mistake.
Yeah, I think you could look back and probably say with some pretty clear certainty that there's something wrong with Tyler Van Dyke. And I don't know if it's like a case of the yips. Tyler Van Dyke is a notorious golfer, right? And he kind of has that sort of golfing mindset. And from everything that I've heard about him. And you know, maybe he's just like kind of in a slump. Maybe that slump kind of got started by the injuries, kept going, and you know, also keep in mind he was out a week. I didn't practice for a week. Probably got, you know, started getting some reps this past week. He's probably a little bit rusty, and then you know, you kind of see, and I'm not any sort of like offensive genius or expert or anything like that, and but like just really simple things that we were seeing on game day, which was, um, you know, on first down, UVA was kind of gambling, right? They would, you know, yeah, they would bring a guy in the box and play coverage, but also they would, you know, they were blitzing on first down, and they did it a few times, and I thought we needed to throw on first down, and then Tyler Van Dyke, you know, I thought just take the check down, you know, and that's something I think we've spoken about maybe off air previous weeks, where you see teams play that traditional zone, with traditional zone rules, where it's like they don't cover the guys, you know, if they're less than 5 yards down the field, they don't get covered. So why not just take the 5 yards?
I think you're 100% right. You know, I think Van Dyke, you know, the game plan going in was flawed. Uh, and for Van Dyke, he's got to be going through some pain. You know, that wheel route to Restrepo, he had him wide open on the sideline. He underthrows that pass. It's picked off. He throws that pass to the sideline. Restrepo makes that catch. Maybe he scores. So, you know, we can go back and we can see a lot of the issues. You know what made that game so tight at the end. But look, at the end of the day, you know, the team showed the ability to win, and now we're headed to North Carolina State, and I think that this is going to be a different week. In my opinion, I think they're going to show up. I think it's going to be a good game, and I brought some stats here that are very interesting. I think we're going to go over some stats here, and I think there's one particular stat that's going to be very telling, that's going to make the difference in that game.
You know, just one more thing on UVA that you know I got to make clear. You know, the one thing that I think should be emphasized, and I think we'll carry on to next week, is the defense. They started flat, they were missing tackles, and then something happened to us, maybe at halftime, maybe in the fourth quarter, where they just turned it on. And I haven't seen us turn on mid-game in a long time, where they weren't missing tackles. They were making those tackles. They were hustling. You know, they were doing everything that they had to do to make up for any, you know, sort of mistakes. And so, yeah, let's hear the stats.
Hey, you know, and you bring up a good point, and we're doing a huge dishonest to AJ. AJ, the running back, that probably had the most impressive run of the year, just, you know, hurdling the Virginia defender, and, you know, basically giving us the tie, and then obviously, and then the pick six right after. But yeah, it's a lot of good plays in that game from a lot of good people. So on we go to North Carolina. I think the stats are really, really interesting. I spent some time looking at them, and we can go over them. So scoring offense. This is NCAA scoring offense ranks. So Miami is ranked 20th in the nation on scoring offense. You know, pretty good number compared to, you know, their numbers last week were very poor. They were probably much higher. Versus North Carolina State, they're 81st in the nation in scoring offense. Scoring defense, Miami is 27th in the country, and North Carolina State is 46. So if you just break down that particular category, scoring offense versus scoring defense, it'd be Miami is 20th ranked offense versus North Carolina State's 46th ranked defense. I think from a scoring perspective, right, is what we're talking about. Then you jump to total defense and total offense. On total defense, Miami is ranked 24th in the country on total defense versus North Carolina State 36th. And total offense, Miami is ranked 19th in the country versus North Carolina State 104th. Big difference. Now, obviously, you look at Miami's defense, 24th in the country versus North Carolina State total offense 104th, and you see an advantage there, a huge advantage there. But before I jumped into the last stat, which I think is going to be the key to the game, tell me what you think about these numbers.
Yeah, I see those numbers or I hear those numbers, and the first thing that comes to my head is, where are the offense and defenses trending? So let's talk about our offense, and like you mentioned, I'm pretty sure we were ranked maybe in the top 10, top 5 total offense, scoring offense for a period that's since fallen off, with obviously the injury to our quarterback, and then Tyler, the way that he's been playing the last couple of weeks, and so in terms of trending, I would say it's probably trending down, right? I mean, you never know what's going to happen in the next game. Obviously, he could go back to old Tyler Van Dyke and we start scoring points again, and then the flip side, or the counterpart to that, which would be North Carolina State's offense. North Carolina State was being led by Brennan Armstrong. Brennan Armstrong, we saw him just, oh my God, he was just flat out bad to start the year, and had some really, really bad performances. They bring on this next guy who really may not be, a guy that'll go out and win the game for you, but he's just not doing a bunch of crazy mistakes like Brennan Armstrong was. And then you also see the emergence of like a new star for them, right? They got that new freshman, Concepcion, who's kind of like a receiver. He's kind of like their version of Brashard Smith, guy that can kind of do it all. And so they're trending up on offense. We're trending down on offense. And then I see, us on defense, we've been pretty steady. Yeah, we came off flat last week. I think they were good, and I think we're in a good shape. And their offense really doesn't scare me more than any other offense that we faced all year. And then, and then thinking about their defense, right? This is a defense that, and I'll, we can touch on it more later, but I think their defense is probably a good matchup for us.
Yeah, here's the situation you got with that. Their defense versus their offense is 104th in the nation, and versus their defense is 36. So yeah, so they're very good at defense, and this next stat will tell you that. So the next stat is where I think this game is going to be won or lost. So third down efficiency. So third down offense, Miami is 22nd in the country on offense, okay, which is a good number. North Carolina State 78th in the country on third down. So that's third down conversions on offense. On defense, Miami is 52nd in the country on stopping third down.
We've seen plenty of third and longs. It's like it's almost like I prefer 3rd and 3 to 3rd and 13.
and here's the stat that's going to blow you away. North Carolina State in the country on third down defense, they're 12th in the country. So what does that tell you? What that tells you is if we come out with the philosophy of running the ball, and we put ourselves, which has been right now what we're doing. We're running the ball. We're getting good yardage, 3 or 4 or 5 yards a pop. But if we find ourselves in 3rd and 4 and 3rd and 5, and we have to go against a North Carolina State defense that, based on these stats, is pretty good at stopping the opponent on third down, that could be a problem for us. And I think you compare that, the 12th ranked third down conversion defense in the country versus the 22nd third down conversion on offense for the Hurricanes. I think that stat is where this is going to lead to. If we are able to convert on third downs, Miami wins this game handily.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's always sort of like to use a Josh Pate term, padlock stats or like key stats or whatever. Obviously, turnovers got to be mentioned based on how the season's gone, and then you always talk about third down offense and defense, red zone, things like that, and to kind of get back to the third down conversation, and this is kind of where I think we can maybe our matchup is good. Where I see North Carolina State as a team that wants to do a lot to do good on first down. Right? They're gonna put extra guys in the box. They're gonna play cover two invert like a Robert coverage. They're gonna basically bring down their free safety to play linebacker. Um, and they're gonna do a lot of things like that. Where I think an offense like ours that has sort of those air raid principles built into them, along with the ability to bring in the personnel and to sort of run the ball as well. I think it's a situation where we can hurt them for big plays, and we've done that in the past against the same scheme, right? So 2021, we ran an offense with air raid principles, maybe not for the same air raid tree, but an offense like Lashley's, I mean, did great, right? And they were getting big plays left and right. So I think it's a good matchup. I think it's a good time for TVD to sort of get back on track, and it sucks because you think you think he's gonna go in the tank for the whole year. We kind of think about how things went last year, but I've got to assume we bounce back at some point.
Well, look, obviously this is the weekend. This game is a game before the game of the year, Florida State, where everybody gets jacked up. I'm hopeful that we show up, that we play our game. I think Miami needs to really understand that they're going to have to be throwing the ball on first down to try to get North Carolina to make some adjustments. Once they make the adjustment, they can go back to the run. I think all the mistakes and how we came out last week, I just can't see it again this week. I think they're going to come out jacked, and trying to overcome that slow start we had against Virginia. But yeah, this is exciting stuff, and I'm hopeful. I'm looking forward to them coming out and just being able to execute and not turn the ball over.
Look, you to put things into perspective, which I think people can very easily lose that, right? You think about the context in which we came into UVA. Okay, we come off of a huge win in double overtime, beat a team that we haven't beaten in forever. Okay, we do it with a freshman quarterback. Because our starter is basically he's like falling apart. Like, he's got injuries to his finger. He has other injuries too, and then you come out flat with a quarterback that's injured and rusty, and it's kind of the recipe. I mean, last week, if anybody can go onto my my YouTube page and listen to our podcast last week. We talk about, like, we knew that this was going to happen. And it's a game that it happened, and we ended up still winning. This week coming up, 8 p.m. start. I mean, how many 8 p.m. starts are we going to get? I mean, we've gotten more than Florida State.
I think that the ACC and the networks really like Miami. They probably draw a lot of like TV followers, and and they're really looking for the ratings. So yeah, so
look, it's like a double-edged sword, right? You want to be the team that's always in prime time, but then it's like, although we're getting a lot, and to be honest with you, look, I like that it's an 8 p.m. start, because that their fans are all going to be there, that they hate us. They remember 2 years ago TVD talking trash and then backing it up, and they lost in I think it was like one of the last plays of the game they lost. I think our kicker hit a kick or something. You know, they've got the circles. I think our guys know it. Again, 8 p.m. start. Fans gonna be jacked up. And I hope he rises to the occasion.
Hey,
I mean,
look.
yeah.
And the other thing is that if you go up and down their roster, you see a lot of SRs on there,
Yeah, it's
which,
true.
which tells you that these are high schoolers that went there and have been there either 4 years or 5 years, maybe even 6 years, and because of COVID, and they're an adult. You know, they're not young; they're an older group of kids, players, and I think that's a big deal. So I think this is going to be an interesting game, and I think that we need to execute and show up, and hopefully Mario, you know, is going to get them jacked up, and we're going to get a really good game.
Sounds good. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm looking forward to it, and you know, it's being a fan. It's almost like there's not much we could do, right? Like all we can really do is watch the games, support, go to the games, and you know, trust the process just in the same way that we expect the players to trust, you know, the coach's process. And you know, we want success right now. We want everything to go right and everything to go well. And I think, you know, I'm not saying that this is going in the right direction or that we're gonna, you know, win a championship and then that we're gonna do all that. But I think people have to put things into perspective. You know, we're at the end of the day we're 6-2, should be 7-1. You can make an argument that we should be 8-0. And it's clearly better than last year. Can you know? Obviously, can we nitpick things here and there? Yeah, great. But like, you know, just to see the level of talent infused at certain positions, to see the way that we're playing defense, to see the way that, you know, it looks different, right? You know, you see our best Manny Diaz teams. Our best Manny Diaz teams are not doing some of the things that we're doing now. The second year was Mario. I think the last time that, you know, we could have said that the program was headed in the right direction was 2017. You know, and I think I'm not saying we're to that point yet, but I think, you know, I think we're headed there, and you know, I think we're in a really important stretch where we're gonna face NC State, that we're gonna go to Florida State. We play Louisville, I think, after that, and then Boston College. Right, this 3-game stretch can set forward the program, you know, 2 years, or it can keep us on the track that we're on. You know what I mean? And it's a great opportunity, and I think that the team has plenty to sort of play for, right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, for sure. I think, you know, I think this team is probably, I don't know, maybe one more class or 2 more classes away from really
Probably 2.
becoming
Yeah.
a powerhouse. You're now seeing the fruits of Mario's God-given ability to recruit. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, he messed up the GT game. We were not calling. You know, he should have called. You know, take a knee. He mismanaged that. Then he didn't call timeouts when it was time to call timeout during the defense. So we would make sure that they wouldn't score on us. You know, he blew that game. But at the same time, you look at the other side of what he's building and how he's doing it. You know, you give him 2 more years, and he's going to have a group of talent here that's going to be competing for a national championship. I'm convinced of that at this point. You know, and I'm really excited about the whole situation. But yeah, you're right. It's going to be interesting. You know, couple of 4 more weeks. I think that if you're able to beat North Carolina State, which I think that we are the better team, I think, you know, you put yourself in a situation where you go to Tallahassee and you're going to put yourself in a position to shock the world, and that's what you want.
Let's do it. We've been going for about 25 minutes. You got anything else? Anything else you want to talk about?
Not really. I just want to say that these some of these stats are pretty interesting. There are other stats that I saw that I was going to bring in, but I didn't want to overstat the our listeners out there. But look, we have a talented team, and we need to take care of the ball and play smart football, no penalties, and we should come out of North Carolina with a victory. Go Canes.
So I've got one more stat for you guys. I got one more stat for you guys. Let me see if I can pull it up here. This one here is probably the stat that I go to the most, and because these guys usually know what's up. We got Miami -4 on the road. If that game was in Hard Rock, I think it would be minus 7.5.
Yep, I agree.
And believe it or not, with this team that we have right now, I feel more comfortable with a -4 than 18 or 19 like some of these other games that we've had.
Yeah, really. We're favored by 19 points to beat Virginia, and we had to go to overtime to beat them.
All right, guys. So we'll stay tuned. I'm going to be on vacation coming up. I'm going to see if I can do what I can to have a on the road video study. Last week, I'm still getting used to this and still learning how to do it. I'm trying to get to the point and cut down a lot of the downtime. I may have to pre-record it this week because YouTube keeps thinking I'm breaking some sort of copyright rules and then cutting off my stream. So we'll probably see you guys again either Saturday night or Sunday afternoon. Go Canes.